Hello and welcome. In this lecture video, I'm going to be talking about petty cash and the journal entries associated with petty cash. All right. So to get around some of the hassles with writing checks for purchasing low-cost dollar items such as supplies, pencils, post-it notes, postage, what companies do is they use another account called petty cash. All right. And that's just to get around some of the time and hassle with writing checks for some of these low-cost dollar items. We'll just use petty cash. So in order to use petty cash, we have to first establish a petty cash fund. And then in order to do that, we have to estimate, well, how much petty cash do we think we need? This could be done monthly, could be done on a weekly basis. It's just over a certain period that tends to be a shorter period, okay? So let's talk about our journal entry in terms of establishing a petty cash fund. So let's assume a company establishes a petty cash fund on November 1st for $75. So what they will do is on 11/1, they're going to debit petty cash, which is just another asset account. All right, so our petty cash is going to go up by $75, and then we credit cash for $75. So we move it out of our cash account to petty cash. And then we use this to pay for low-cost supplies, and we do that so we don't have to write checks. Because remember, we want it for cash disbursements, our control over cash disbursements, we want to write checks rather than giving people cash. But in this case, for low-cost supplies, it may not make sense to constantly write checks for all those kinds of things to do electronic funds transfer. May just want to have cash for purchasing some low-cost supplies. You know, going to Staples to buy paper, for example, might just want to use cash. In that case, we would use petty cash to do that, not cash. Okay? So after that petty cash fund is debited, it's not going to be debited or credited again unless the amount of the petty cash fund needs to be changed. So for example, we have $75 in here, but if we see that we're burning through petty cash quite frequently, like we establish it for a month period, and then we start saying, well, gee, we're running out of petty cash here and we have to keep replenishing the petty cash fund, maybe what we want to do is just increase the amount in petty cash. So in that case, what we would do is maybe come over here. We say, well, we need more than $75. We really need $100. So then we would increase petty cash account at that point. Okay. So only if we need to change the amount in petty cash, only then do we debit or credit petty cash. Okay. Petty cash is going to be handled by our petty cashier. All right. And that person will be responsible for keeping the cash safe and also making any payments. Okay. So when the cash disbursement is made from petty cash, the person receiving the cash, right, is going to sign a pre-numbered petty cash receipt. And then this receipt is placed in the petty cash in our cash box. So think like a little box that holds our cash. So in that box, we have all of our remaining petty cash plus the receipts showing that we have given petty cash to another person who can then go out and purchase supplies or postage. Okay. So what we could do is we could total all the receipts right here, petty cash receipts, plus our remaining petty cash, and then that should equal the debit to petty cash right there. Okay, that should equal our total petty cash. Now, what we're going to have to do is when we start seeing that we don't have very much petty cash, physical cash, in our lockbox, when we start to see, well, we're running low on cash, what we have to do is reimburse, okay, the petty cash fund. We have to reimburse the petty cash fund. And let's look at that journal entry right now. So we have this little figure right over here that says, assume the petty cashier, okay, has made several November payments from petty cash, and assume that petty cash was used for the following. We have miscellaneous expenses on November 2nd, cleaning of our LCD panels, that was $20. And then we had some tile cleaning of $26.50. So we had $46.50 there. And then on November 5th, we had to pay for transport of merchandise purchase, $6.75, and transport of merchandise purchase for $8.30. That gives us our $15.05 right there. That's transportation in. Then we have delivery expenses on November 18th, customer package delivered, $5. Then office supplies expense, purchase of office supplies immediately used, $4.75. So then we get to a total of $71.30. Okay, $71.30. And so this would be all of our petty cash receipts. Okay, we could add up and we'd say, here's all the receipts from petty cash. It should equal that $71.30. Okay, it should equal that $71.30. So then what we would do you can see that we established the petty cash fund for $75. Right, so we had initial $75 in our little lockbox, but then we spent $71.30 of that $75. So we're running out of money. So what we have to do is reimburse the petty cash fund. And that's the journal entry that we're going to be doing now. So what we do in this case is we're going to come over here and we will debit miscellaneous expenses. So I'm just abbreviating miscellaneous, MISC. So miscellaneous expenses debit, $46.30. And then we will debit merchandise inventory for the transportation in of $15.05. Remember, like what we talked about back in Chapter 5, when we talk about the cost basis for merchandise inventory, we're talking about the cost of the merchandise inventory that you purchased, plus any normal and reasonable expenditures to get it ready for sale. So in this case, paying for transportation in is normal and reasonable. And so we would add that to the cost basis for merchandise inventory. So debit merchandise inventory, $15.05. And then we will debit delivery expense for our $5. And then finally, we debit office supplies expense for our $4.75. And then if we added up all these, we would get to that $71.30. And like I was saying earlier, we don't debit or credit petty cash unless we increase the fund. Unless we say, we don't want $75 in petty cash anymore, we want $100. That's when we would debit cash. Not to reimburse the fund. To reimburse the fund, right over here, what we do is we credit cash for $71.30. Okay? This is our journal entry to reimburse the petty cash fund. Now, what would happen, right, is that the petty cash payments report and all receipts are given to the cashier in this scenario for $71.30 to reimburse that petty cash fund. The cashier cashes the check and puts $71.30 in the physical cash box. Now we're back up to $75. Okay? Once they do that, we put $71.30 into the cash box. We take that remaining cash that we had plus the additional $71.30. Now we're back up to $75. And now the petty cash fund has been reimbursed. Okay? So this is the journal entry to reimburse the petty cash fund. Now it could be a situation though that maybe the petty cashier failed to get a receipt, or maybe there's some overpayment, right? Maybe the person, who bought these purchases office supplies for $4.75, right? They actually, took out $6. They said, well, it's $4.75, and there was a problem with our petty cash receipts there, okay? Or an overpayment for the amount due. So when this occurs, right, the petty cash receipts plus the remaining cash will not equal how much is in our petty cash total. So what we would see in that situation, we add up all these receipts, right? We get $71.30. Okay, so we add up all these receipts, we get $71.30, right? But then remember, we established our petty cash fund for $75, and then we have our receipts for $71.30. That means we should have $3.70 left over in our petty cash box. But let's say that we only have $2. Somebody made a mistake. And so in that situation, that would be recorded in our cash over and short. Okay? So let's look at some quick check problems to make sure we understand petty cash. And so look over here. Let's look at 102. So the entry to record reimbursement of petty cash fund for postage expense should include all the following: a debit to postage expense, A, is the right answer. A debit to petty cash, no. Right? That would be done if we need to increase the petty cash fund or establish the petty cash fund. A debit to cash, no, that means cash is going up. A debit to cash over and short, no, that's when the receipts and then the total amount of cash left over do not equal how much is in the petty cash fund. That's when we would debit cash over and short. A debit to supplies, no, it's postage expense. Okay? So let's look at number 158. And so what we see right over here is a company established the petty cash fund of $100 on September 1st. On September 10th, the petty cash was replenished when there was $16 remaining, and there were petty cash receipts for office supplies 27, transportation in on merchandise purchase 32, and postage 22. Okay? On September 15th, the petty cash fund was increased to $125 in total. Record the transactions. So let's come over here on 9/1. We're going to establish our petty cash fund. Remember, that's a debit to petty cash, in this case for $100, and then a credit to cash for $100. On 9/10, we have to do our journal entry to reimburse our petty cash fund. So we have petty cash receipts, office supplies 27. So that's our office supplies expense. $27. And then what we have is our merchandise inventory. And that is for our transportation in. Remember, that's added to the cost basis for merchandise inventory, 32. And then postage expense for 22. Now, when we add up all these, we get 81. Right? If we added up all these, we get 81. And then it says we had cash on hand of $16. Plus 16 gives us 97. That does not equal the 100. We're short by 3. How does this happen? Well, somebody made a mistake. Maybe somebody didn't get a receipt. Maybe the petty cashier forgot to put one of the receipts in. Something happened, okay? Their mistake occurred. So we're short by $3. So what we come over here is we debit cash over and short by $3. And then we credit cash for 84. And again, why 3? Because when I take my receipts plus my remaining cash, that should equal 100. It doesn't, equals 97. $3 short. Okay? So then on 9/15, I want to increase my petty cash fund. So what I do is I debit petty cash by 25 because it was 100 and I want to increase it to 125, and then I credit cash for 25. Okay? All right, so this next one, 175, I want you to pause the lecture video and give this one a try, and then we will go over it, okay? Thanks. Hello and welcome back. So let's look at this problem. So in the first one, we established our petty cash fund for $400. Debit petty cash 400, credit cash, and it says we paid on the 25th, paid $124.50, cleaning, 84 postage, and then $153.15 for office supplies. And we had this remaining. We add up all these, we get $395. So we're short by $5. So we debit our cash over and short $5 right there. And then on the 25th, debit petty cash 100, credit cash 100. Thanks so much.